up, everybody? Welcome back to episode number 22 of the Underdogs podcast. My name is Jordan Daly. As always, we got Craig Smith, Mike Taylor in the house. Craig, I'm going to pass over to you to introduce today's guest.
All right, man. This is a special guest because this is it's a longtime friend. Also an NBA vet, a gold medalist with me in the Izmir World University Games. The only player to play for 5 NBA teams during the season, which is NBA record, and one of Italy's favorite American players. Please give it up for Bobby Ray Jones. Welcome to the Underdogs podcast, sir.
Craig, how you doing? Nice to meet you guys. Jordan, it's nice to meet you too. I like how you introduced me, but you didn't say in what years, so you didn't really let them know how old we really are.
Well,
I don't think Craig likes to age himself that much.
Since
the
we
more
got
we're in the
young
public
faces
eye, the
still.
more they know how old we are anyway. But yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, being a part of me in the 2006 draft, we are the same class.
I want to say I think I was one pick behind you, or maybe two.
Yes, you were the 37th pick. You were the 37th pick. I was the 36th pick.
That's crazy. Sometimes I don't even remember what number I was. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I know it's in the late 30s. I always know it's in the late 30s.
So, and another thing, you were drafted by Minnesota, which we were teammates with, and that pick became Philadelphia's. So now we're going to break this up and we're going to talk about your upbringing because that's what we like to do in the beginning.
Okay, a little foreplay. All right.
Yeah. Just being an American-born, naturalized, how you pronounce that?
Equatorian? I don't even know, man.
Equatorial, right? I mean, which is a part in Africa, but you grew up and you were raised in Compton. Let's just talk about your upbringing. And was the African culture always a part of the household, or was it more Americanized?
Well, it only says that because when I played overseas in Italy, my good friend who was also the general manager at that time, he was able to give me a passport. He knew a guy who can give me a passport. And so I just did my ancestry. I did the saliva stuff. I mailed it in about a month ago. So I'm not even from that country. I don't even know. I just did that for playing basketball wise. I had like a 4-year passport now. So it's funny how it's still up there because that thing expired.
But that's cool because that's like another thing to talk about as far as like American players getting the opportunity to get certain passports through the game of basketball. I think that's a pretty cool perspective of going to. But let's talk about you. Let's talk about Compton.
But yeah, let's go back to Compton.
Yeah.
We'll have another interview, and I'll let you know once my ancestry comes back what I say. But
all right.
Yeah, no, I was born and raised in Compton. I know that sounds cliche, but it's the truth. Parents still have the same house. Actually, August marks 40 years that my parents bought our family house back in 1982. Wow. I'm Compton, baby. Some people don't like talking about it so much. Some people brag about it and try to monetize it. But growing up in the 80s and 90s, I learned a lot from my neighbors. I learned meaning people across the street, next door, in my neighborhood, in my city. I'm from Compton. I'm from LA. I'm from California. I'm from America. I'm from planet Earth. So depending on who I meet, I just tell people I'm from planet Earth because I don't like to, when you tell people from Compton, sometimes you're giving them the power to stereotype you and put you a label on you. So growing up, I learned very early not to share where I'm from because it might mean something bad gang purpose wise. It might mean something bad police wise. It might be something good with the women. Because growing up, women love when you say you're from Compton for some reason. But as I got older, I love Compton because it taught me so much indirectly. And I was there until I was 18. I went to college after that, got a scholarship. But I grew up going to all the schools in Compton, from Emerson Elementary to Walton Middle School to a charter school in Compton started by the NFL called the NFL Yet Education Town. I went to Dominguez High School. Of course, Craig, you know about Dominguez.
Yeah.
And, I'm a Compton boy.
But before that, let's talk about the NFL school and like how that was a valuable like asset to your life. Like, let's go into that, and then let's go into Dominguez after that. Because I mean, come on, dude, you played for Dominguez, one of the nationally ranked teams. You got to play alongside one of the most coveted high school players ever in Tyson Chandler. I mean, you got to play with a lot of great individuals, but right now let's just talk about the
No, they
NFL
got to
school.
play with me. This is my
I
attitude.
love
Yeah,
that attitude.
They got to play with me. If this day interview, they not play with them, but they play with me. This is Bobby's time. But
I
I'm just
got you.
joking. Yeah. So in the sixth grade, back in 1993, that's a little bit after they had the riots in LA because of the Rodney King stuff. The NFL, National Football League, they wanted to create a charter school here in Compton to kind of help with the recovery part of the LA riots because it took years before all that stuff got cleaned up, the fires and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was in sixth grade going to Walton Middle School. This white guy come in my classroom dressed up nice, button up shirt, slacks, and he starts talking about how he's from the NFL and they're opening up a school in about a year and they're looking for sixth graders all across Compton. And they want to put us in the school. It's going to be 75 of us, and we're going to stay together from sixth grade, seventh grade to eighth grade. We're going to have 3 teachers. We're going to have this beautiful new facility with computers, with books. And as he's saying all this, I was like, what, huh? I was just so confused. So he left a bunch of flyers and was like, hey, take one, give it to your parents. Your parents got to come to about 10 meetings. That's how they're going to filter out which kids will be eligible. So I took 2 flyers. I took it back home. My mom was sleeping because she worked graveyard. So not to wake up a black mama during the day when she worked in graveyard. But I did it because I was so excited. And I came here like a boss and I slammed the flyer right there. I was like, Mama, I'm going to need you to go ahead and attend these meetings. And she had no idea. She was mad. But looking back, because now I'm a parent, I took control of my future already at an early age because most kids in that classroom probably didn't grab a flyer or they didn't care about the message. But when he mentioned all these resources and opportunities to learn, I was always a kid that loved to learn. Again, I learned through so many ways, through books, through videos, through my environment, through sports. I just loved learning. Learning was fun for me. So when this guy gave me the opportunity to go to the school, my parents, I had both parents in the household, middle class family, far from perfect because we still lived in Compton, but I was very blessed to have both parents in my household. So they went to the meetings. I was one of the 75 lucky kids chosen. Also, Josh Childress went to the school briefly. A lot of good friends who I'm really good friends with now as adults went to the school. We even had our own Super Bowl commercial. So every year when there's a Super Bowl, the NFL created an NFL Yet in that city. So back in 1993, that's when the Cowboys played the Bills here in Pasadena. So that was the very first charter school they started. After that, for the next 15 years, they put NFL Yet all over America. But the very first one was in Compton. And so I was one of the students there. By eighth grade, I was the student body president of the NFL Yet. Okay. So again, little things when you look back at your childhood, you go, okay, yeah, maybe I was programmed to do better things as an adult. So that was great, man. We had great field trips. We went to Rock and Jock MTV games. Remember those Rock and Jock games? We went to Magic Mountain. We went to Michael Jackson house. Pause. We had guest football speakers. We had Jane Goodall came down to Compton and spoke to us. Like we were privileged kids in Compton. So playing basketball.
Yeah, how was Michael Jackson's house?
Well, I'm just saying, man.
Like Michael Jackson's. Yeah, how was that?
Actually, I missed that field trip because I had a basketball tournament that weekend. But it's all good, I get the name drop because it did happen. I was pissed. But again, you got to make these decisions as kids. You got to go to this tournament or go to Michael Jackson's house with the roller coasters. Maybe it was better I didn't go.
Well, I guess going.
He had roller coasters at his house?
Yeah, Michael Neverland Ranch.
Neverland Ranch.
That's insane.
Yeah, Neverland Ranch was like a low-key Disneyland.
Mm-hmm. All right. So after the NFL school, what made you decide to go to Dominguez?
So Dominguez,
or did you have other choices?
No, I was going to Dominguez since, again, I'm from Compton. So Dominguez is my home school in my neighborhood. So throughout the early 90s, when Dominguez was with Tommy Prince and Kenny Bruner and Term and Tayshaun Prince and all those guys, they were winning already. I looked up to them like NBA players. And that was my home school. So as a kid in middle school, I'm like, man, I'm about to be next up. Like, this is it. But at the same time, as Dominguez kept winning and we had a Nike sponsorship, they started bringing more transfers in. So by the time I was a freshman, I played varsity
Yeah.
as a freshman. I was the only kid from Compton on the team by the end. So in that 2-year window, Dominguez changed from being all Compton kids winning to now being all transfers who are not from Compton, but they're still winning. So the basketball politics was alive and well even back then. I call it the Wild Wild West kind of still because there's a lot of unwritten rules. But yeah, I played varsity as a freshman. I started half the season. I wasn't the best player, but my coach realized that I played hard. I was unselfish. And so he used me as leverage against the senior players who were better than me because he wanted to let them know you might be better than Bobby, but Bobby's going to listen to me. Bobby's going to play hard. Bobby's going to play defense. And so I knew as a freshman, I always had that going for me. So that gave me a lot of confidence. And then everything else developed as I got older each year. And yeah, we were a very dominant program. My freshman year, we won CIF, we won state. And the following year, my sophomore year, we won CIF and we won state and we won a national championship. My junior year, we won CIF, we won state. And then I ended up transferring from Dominguez. But in my 3 years there, I won 3 CIF championships, 3 state championships, and 1 national championship.
So being on this powerhouse team, Craig was trying to explain it to me last night because I'm not from LA. I don't really know too much about it. You guys probably have a lot of like attention on you. What's it like kind of navigating that at such a young age, and how's like the limelight from like college recruiters on you?
Before social media, like you guys had a ton of media.
Yeah, it prepped me for college and for NBA because when you're playing those CIF championship games, you're playing it at the Anaheim Pond or the Forum or the Staples Center. Then when you go to state, you play in Sacramento where the Kings Arena is. So as a kid at 14, 13, I'm going to these arenas that I thought that I would never play in to begin with, but now I'm playing there for high school championship games. So of course, freshman year, I was very nervous. I was very raw, but I was gaining experience and we were winning. And I was around other talented players who were making me better. So I was 1 grade underneath Tyson Chandler. So he graduated in 2001 and playing with a 7-footer. And again, Tyson's probably the most decorated California high school player ever. Just with the height, just with the skills. And, you know, that was right after Kevin Garnett made his splash into the NBA. So everybody thought Tyson was going to be the light-skinned version of him. But Tyson ended up being himself, own version of himself. But in high school, it was very good. It was very fun. I'm a defensive guy, so I love stealing. I love picking up full court. And what better than to have a 77-foot athletic guy at the rim while you get to gamble and pick up guys full court? Because if you pass me, you still got to deal with a 7-footer who's athletic. So we had a great time together. Our school was known for defense. We'll pick you up. We'll beat everybody by 20 points. I mean, wow. Craig, you can add on to this because I don't want to sound like I'm biased. But our program, we had a good run about 10 to 15 years.
Craig, did you ever play them?
Yeah, we played y'all in Carson at what's that college right there? They used to have the pump camps.
Oh, Dominguez Hills?
Yes. We played y'all at Dominguez Hills.
A lot of schools were scared to play us. Some teams were like, they didn't want to play us in those like special, like the Dream Classic or the Christmas tournaments. A lot of teams didn't want to play us, man. We had to start going out the country and playing the Oak Hills and the other schools that's on the East Coast because they were all Nike or Jordan sponsored schools too. So we traveled out the country a lot. We went to maybe 3 or 4 out-of-state tournaments a year. We would get maybe 10 different pairs of shoes, Nike. We'll probably get more Nike shoes than some college teams were. We're probably better than some low D1 college teams. Like we were depth. Our starting lineup was the shortest guy was probably 6'3", between 6'3" and then Tyson was 7 foot. So we had depth, we had height, we had a great coach, we had a good gimmick, and we were from Compton. So people who, if you've never been to Compton, people were scared to play us just because, oh, they're from Compton. And then on top of that, we were actually really good. So it was an interesting time back then. But I did play Fairfax, Craig, after you left. When I was at Poly, because I transferred to Poly my senior year, and that's when Evan Burns was, he was ranked higher than me and stuff. So I kind of wanted to go at that guy because I never played him on any other level. But we did beat him, but he got hurt, I believe, too. So he didn't play that game. But I did beat Fairfax, just so you know, when I was at Poly.
I wasn't there. And then it goes, when we played Dominguez, we gave y'all a nice run until like the fourth quarter, and then y'all like really took off because it was just like we couldn't combat with competing with your first group, and then you had a nice second unit too. You feel me?
Our
like
second unit could have been a starting five at another high school. Like that's just what it was.
Yeah. Y'all were like, and what's crazy was Westchester had the same thing, but y'all were just on a different level.
Yeah, no, Westchester was on their way.
I
Again,
can't
LA
believe I
has
gave
so much
Westchester a
talent.
shout out.
Yeah, but we always beat them in the Watts Summer games. Like Westchester knew they couldn't mess with us. They could beat other schools, but they knew they couldn't beat us. But that was the thing about LA. LA has so many good hoopers, so many good basketball programs, to where everybody has their moment where they're running off championships. And again, in the early '90s and into 2000, when we won our national championship in 2000, we had a good 12-year run, and I would say it's up there with all the Crenshaws and all the other top programs from the different decades. Even the Sierra Canyon. I mean, people say they're legit, but they're legit because they got a lot of big name players who parents are big names. We didn't have big name parents. We made our names for ourselves, so that would set us apart.
Yeah,
and a lot of kids, right now with the IG and TikTok, Instagram ballers. If we had all that, Craig, we'll probably have 100,000 followers off the rip just because of the just monetization we would have got so early in high school.
I mean, you still can do it now. Keep it a buck.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
ain't too late, but we ain't got all the. I got all the tapes.
brand.
I got almost every tape from Dominguez. A lot of guys our age don't have the footage to show their kids to say, "Hey, this is who I was." They might have a couple pictures here and there, and you know how it is when you get older. We all exaggerate our stories. So again, the footage never lie. So that's why if we'd had all that footage saved, or most guys saved, we could have been using that instead of just using our words to describe things, because it hits different for this generation.
I got a segment here called the Mental Minute, to where we like to just dive in a little bit deeper into the mind frame that you was going through one of like an adverse situation for me. So transferring because of the abrupt change. What was the effects of that?
When I went to Dominguez High, we won a lot of championships. I gained a lot of experience. I was very young, playing against seniors and juniors, and I learned a lot. Our program ended up falling into shambles because our coach got accused for doing some stuff. He was acquitted, but Dominguez was not able to rehire him. So I decided to take my future into my own hands, and I transferred to Long Beach Poly. I live right here I live in South Compton, which is the borderline of North Long Beach. So Long Beach Poly isn't so far from my house. Growing up, I always admired Poly. I felt like it was like a miniature university. They had good school spirit. They were good in academics, or good in sports. And so again, I did the LeBron before the LeBron. I was like, you know what? I'm going to put myself in the situation that I want to be in. It was actually very refreshing. Once I got there, I got to be the senior, also the new guy who's playing varsity. I was already winning at another school. So I was feeling myself a little bit. The difficulty about transferring schools was that Poly wasn't known for having a lot of transfers. They like to build guys up through their farm system from freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. So a lot of those guys who were juniors and seniors, they weren't too excited for me to be transferring to their school because, guys get possessive, especially that Dominguez smacked Poly a lot too. But when I got there, it wasn't the most welcoming from the guys. It took about a month, and that was very hard on me mentally because, again, we're Black men, we're athletes, we're all trying to win, we're all trying to get scholarships. So, we're playing against each other, but we're also trying to play against other teams. We're fighting for scholarships. So at a young age, that's really tough on athletes or on a Black man because you don't know who's helping you, who's hurting you, or who's just there trying to, ride your coattail. But about a month into the season, the guys saw how I practiced. They saw how I did everything on the court. So there was nothing really they could do to stop my energy on the court because I'm rebounding, I'm running, I'm scoring, I do all the little things, and those little things add up to big things. So after about a month, I think I earned their respect, and they opened up more to me, and they saw that I was here to win, and now I'm a winner. So you can't hate on a winner if you're on his team. So that was probably one of the biggest things. And I was 17 years old at that time. I still didn't have a scholarship yet. I had some good options, but I wasn't happy with my choices. So at that time, I was very nervous but excited to go to Poly because again, I loved education, and Poly was a very diverse school.
Yeah, you unpacked it a lot in there, and I like the way that you kind of like just went in deep with, you know what I'm saying, that process, that welcoming process that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people don't really understand when you're making that transfer from one situation to the next. So I appreciate you for that, for that
And
mental.
then, and then to add on top of that, the following year, when I did get the scholarship to Washington, I moved from LA to Seattle. So then it was Seattle versus LA guys. Because
Yeah.
again, in the basketball community, in the Black basketball community or the West Coast basketball community, we make these groups and then we are in competition with each other. So I had to really do the same thing I did at Poly when I became a freshman at UW because I was the only LA or out of state guy on that team. That team was all Seattle folks. So again, at that age, I knew that I would win them over. It was just I was frustrated that I needed to prove myself to them when I was the winner, when I was the guy who made it from Compton and did all this stuff. But they didn't care about that. They cared about this is how we see you until you show us otherwise. And that's hard on you mentally because again, I don't like changing myself to be around people. I like who I am. I'd rather be myself and be alone than having to change myself and be around other folks. Because again, that's all about, are you confident in yourself? Are you happy with your decisions? Do you care what other people think? Are you chasing status? And I always knew I was a smart guy. I was going to have a good life for myself no matter what I did. But also when you're on a team, you're with these guys for 9 months and you want to make it the best possible experience with each other. So it's a lot to unload, especially at that age. And coaches and family, all that can help, but you got to still live it and go through it.
Yeah, that's one thing that I can appreciate about this new generation of basketball, right? They kind of step out of that box of competition a little bit, and they kind of got a better brotherhood than what we had growing up. You know what I'm saying? So,
and then they try to call the guys soft for doing that, though. Like some
right.
journalists, they say, no, it's not supposed to be like, you're supposed to always complete. Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, that's subconsciously programming us. There's guys who I know now that's our age that still don't like certain guys because of rankings in high school.
Facts.
And those rankings was made by guys who didn't even play basketball, who were connected to agents or who were
the
probably
analytic guys.
Life.
Those the analytic guys now. All right.
So it's always something. Again, every generation has their pros and their cons, but back then, looking back now as a grown man, and again, I'm not so into the high school scene in LA or nationally. I'm getting better at it again, but it's a lot to take on as a teenager because you're trying to achieve these things, but also taking it step by step, and you don't know who's helping you, who's hurting you. It's a lot. It's very hard on the mind.
No, I appreciate that, bro. Like again, you dived in deep on some issues that I see more, you know what I'm saying, that more attention and focus need to go on when we unpacking a mental at a young age. And then you just being so aware of yourself at that age and knowing how to maneuver through, you know what I'm saying, those certain situations. I believe that has a lot to do with, you know what I'm saying, your background and your upbringing. So
yeah,
again, bro, I appreciate you for it.
Nah, no problem. That set me up for the rest of my journey. I mean, going to the NBA, like Chris said, playing on 5 teams in one season, playing in Italy for 12 years, going to a different city every year almost. Like the stuff I was doing at 14, 17, 18, I thought that was just the end of it, but that was just the beginning of that carousel of that basketball journey, that basketball career, if we're lucky enough to play that long.
What was your college recruiting process like?
So I was at Dominguez. We used to get a bunch of letters come in after I realized that a lot of those letters didn't mean shit because it was just people in the office printing stuff out and mailing to you. But still back then, that felt good when you saw a stack of letters, coach get to you, like, and everybody's like, ooh, you know how it was, Craig, man. I don't know if they do that anymore, if they just email the kids or whatever, but I was recruited by a lot of schools. But by the time I transferred from Dominguez to Poly, a lot of the local schools like USC, the ones that I wanted to go to, they stopped recruiting me. That's when Henry Bidby was there. And again, I was a top 5 player in the state. I was a top 75 player in the country. I was a winner. So again, now that I'm an adult and I see myself as a coach or a mentor, I had a lot of good qualities that a lot of coaches would want to recruit me for, but a lot of schools stopped recruiting me, and I was very confused. Boston College was one of those schools who recruited me very hard, and Craig, you was there, so I almost went to Boston College. I was supposed to take a visit there the weekend before 9/11 happened, because that was in September. And once that
Yeah.
happened, my mom was like, "You ain't going out there no more." And I love Boston
Yeah.
College because they recruited LA guys. There was you, a couple other folks.
Dudley
They
and
were the most
Marshall.
consistent. And again, they were real. And if 9/11 didn't happen, I probably would have went to Boston College. But since that happened, I never took a visit. And then I waited to the late signing period in May because I wasn't happy with the Pepperdines and the New Mexicos. And again, I had some schools that was here and there, but nobody never offered. So I waited to the spring, and then that's when Lorenzo Romar got the job at UW. A guy by the name of Earl Knight, who was at UW, he ended up transferring to Gonzaga. So when he did that after Romar got hired, that opened up a scholarship. So then Romar, he's also from Compton, and who coached at Pepperdine. I went to a couple camps back in the day. He looked me up, and he came down, and I went on a visit up there. And before I left Seattle, I asked him, "Coach, if I played hard, are you going to play me or play everybody else based on how hard they work in practice?" And he was like, "Yeah." And that's all I needed to hear. I didn't know who was on that team yet. I never watched a game of UW basketball. I just went with what Romar said, and I committed. And the rest was history. I became his first recruit. And then, the program took off. I kind of feel like, I don't know who Coach K first recruit was when he got the job at Duke, but that's kind of about UW in that period when Romar was there. I was his very first recruit. And all the other guys who came, who was lotteries, first rounders, who had great careers, that's great. I'm happy for them. But I feel like I was the one that put my energy into that program that changed it for the next 10, 15 years.
That's dope, bro. Like being the one to like kick in that door for those to come after you. I kind of feel that on so many levels.
And then
it's hard to go out of state as a local guy because most local guys want to stay in state, right? You see those schools growing up as a kid, but UCLA never recruited me. I would have loved to go there. USC recruited me, but then they stopped by the time I became a junior. So other than that, well, there's the Long Beach States and the Pepperdines and the Fuller. I knew I was a better player than that. And maybe I wasn't, maybe I was being a little cocky or not, I don't know. But I stuck to my morals and I waited. And all those offers that they were giving me, they went away. And then Washington opened up and that's where I went. It was either Washington or I was going to go probably to New Mexico or Vanderbilt. But all those other schools was even further away. But UW was right there on the West Coast, a 2-hour flight. And it worked out. My parents were very happy. They were very happy.
All I'm saying is you came to BC. I'm going to the league early. And we win a national championship.
Hey, the ACC was just a different, like everybody who played in the ACC, just because of the platform and the TV games, you just was seeing more. Pac-10 was, it's called the Pac-12 now, but the Pac-10 was a respected conference. But as you know, Craig, the games came on later. People didn't stay up. People, unless it was tournament time, unless it was Arizona or UCLA, nobody really cared about Washington at that time. We didn't have nothing to brag about or any players to actually to talk in conversations. And my freshman year at UW ended up being the same year Nate Robinson. He took a football scholarship at UW. Brandon Roy, he took a scholarship the year before with Bob Bender, who ended up leaving. That's when Romar came. And then he was on suspension until January because of some clearinghouse SAT stuff. So Nate was playing football freshman year. Brandon didn't join us until January. I was the only true freshman there at that time. And then by February, all three of us came to that, started playing together. And then that's when we started working on our chemistry. And then, the rest was history.
Killer. If you did come, you would have played in 2 leagues. You played in the Big East and in the ACC.
Yeah, y'all was playing each other. I loved it.
It'd have been killer. But, all right, just speaking about that, you started half the games freshman year, right? And then, you just took over that role. Let's talk about, that aspect of, what Romar said, really, really happened in a sense, because it's you went out, you went and you proved yourself, and then you became that role and that leader.
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. Our freshman year, we sucked. I think we were like 8-15 or something like that. So our sophomore year is when we finally put it together. So again, it was a lot of rough times freshman year. A lot of guys were selfish. It was a lot of Seattle folks. So they had their own. I got to be the man from Seattle on the team, and it was just a lot of stuff. And I was like, man, I ain't gonna lie. After my freshman year, I thought about transferring because I was like, I don't like this. Like I'm used to winning. These guys were great players in high school, but they weren't winners in high school. I was a good player in high school, but I was a winner. So when I got to college, our energy wasn't matching. So somebody was going to have to adjust. So again, I was staying positive, but I was a little reluctant myself. And then by sophomore year, we started, I think, 0-6 in conference. And I was like, well, it's about to be another shitty season. But then we won on the road against Oregon State. They hit a great shot. And then we won, I believe, 10 straight conference games. And then we went from last place to second place. Wow. And then the last game of the season, our senior night, was against an undefeated Stanford, who had Chris Hernandez, Josh Childress. Mm-hmm. And so this was the perfect setup because we knew we were probably going to make the tournament, but to beat them at home on senior night would be the icing on the cake. That day, which was on a Saturday morning, and it was on ABC, those ABC morning games. Early. That's when you for college basketball, that was the thing back then. Mm-hmm. I came into the gym because I had a camcorder, because again, I'm a storyteller. I told my parents to buy me a camcorder maybe I think the year before for Christmas. So I came in there walking. I filmed the whole student body outside, waiting before the game. They're chanting, they're packed. I walked into the locker room. We're getting taped. I'm like, Nate, Brandon, we got to smack these guys. Everybody was just so confident. I'm going in, I'm getting changed, I'm filming myself. I filmed Coach Romar talking about the pregame. We go out there, we smacked Stanford at home. It wasn't even close. We won by like 10 or 12 points. Wow. Before, everybody's going to march on the floor. So I told one of our managers, Brandon Miller, I was like, go grab my video camera before the clock go out. He goes in the back, grab my camera. We run on the court. I got the camera on ABC. You see me holding the camcorder, getting everybody in there. It was great, man. And then we made the tournament that year. We lost to UAB in the first round, and then UAB ended up being Kentucky the next round. But after that, our junior year, that's when we took off. That's when we became the number 1 seed. That's when they ended up leaving, going pro. And then me and Brandon stayed together to our senior year. And then Brandon had a great year. He was an All-American. And then he went lottery. And then I went early second rounder. And actually, Craig, Minnesota drafted Brandon too. They drafted me, you, and Brandon. Yeah, and they traded me and Brandon away. So we could have all been together. But again, that's the business side, right? National Business Association. Yeah. But I had a good college career, man. I can't complain. We won a lot. I started by the time I was a freshman. Similar in high school. By my junior year in college, I was confident. I had my skill set, and I took off. So by the third year in high school, I took off. By my third year in college, I took off. And then when I got to the NBA, I only played 2 years there. But if I would have got that third year, I think that was, again, looking at my patterns and my development as a player, if I could have stayed in the NBA by my third year, I would have caught on and figured it out. And, maybe I would have never played overseas. But I'm happy with the way life turned out for me in my basketball career. But, there's always those what ifs. We always have those.
Yeah. Yeah, and you finished 20th among the school's all-time scorers. Like, you had 1,226 career points, and you were 4th in steals because you had 134 of them. You was definitely in the lane. And to play with 2 really good NBA guys who had some pretty good careers, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's telling of you and your endeavors. And you're right, if you did have that opportunity, like, things would have went differently, period.
Yeah. I have a question for you guys, and I know all three of you are going to have 3 different answers. Do you think it's harder to make it to the NBA or to stay in the NBA? Ooh. We're going to start with Jordan first.
From everything I didn't go to the NBA, so I don't know. But from everything I've heard from all of our past guests, I've heard it's much harder to stay in the NBA.
No, I want your opinion, not what you collected. Your personal, from your lens.
I would still say stay in the NBA.
Okay. Fred?
Yeah, so to me, it's staying in because every year there are new recruits coming in. Every year you have to solidify, especially if depending on the situation, right? You're not an all-star. You're a guy, right? who's a mid-level player, you gotta figure it out and bring it every day, every night. Practice, right? Travel, like everything has to be cool to the T, right? You can't have no mishaps. You get in trouble with anything in the law, done. Right? You late to practice, done. You don't know the plays, done. So it's in that situation because I feel like you can build your career, you can build hype, you can have a stellar pro career, and you can find somebody who likes you, who wants to give you a chance. Once you get that chance, now it's shark season. It's shark season every moment after that, in my opinion.
Okay, Mike.
That's a tough one for me, but I definitely think staying in the league is harder. It's cutthroat just to even make it. So that's it's a tough experience. And then, you know, my way, I was the first player to be drafted from the G League to the NBA. So I kind of like created my own way. So for me, that was kind of a tough situation and holding my ground on where I knew how I could make it to the NBA. But I think it's so much business, right? And the politics side to the NBA that staying is practically impossible in the NBA when you're on that lower tier in that second round. Like if you like 40 and under, it's so many things like come January, you got to have certain many minutes that you got to have. So I think just staying and sticking in the NBA and even having the opportunity to even stay and stick somewhere in the NBA, I would say that has to be like the hardest part because those places to them is just numbers at that point. So you're not even a face, you're not even a recognizable name. You the 500K guy, you the 600K guy, and those are expendable spots in the NBA. Where each year those spots are gonna change automatically. So for me, I would say staying.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I think both are equally as hard. But once you accomplish the first one, you think like, whew.
It's over. I made it.
You're like, nah, it's even harder now, bro.
For sure.
But until you do the first one, you don't know about the second one. But to a person who never did the first one, they still think the first one is harder. And it is. Again, I don't want to split hairs. They both are equally as hard.
Equally, for sure.
But I think to stay, if you can stay, that means you figured the game out. You played the game. You had somebody front office that was in your corner that gave you a chance longer than others. I think for me, I got drafted, like I said, 37, but I felt like I was better off not getting drafted to where now my agent could have found a better team for me. Sometimes being drafted by a team ain't the best thing for you because the team I got drafted to, Philadelphia, and again, I'm sorry, let me go back to the story. So when I got drafted, I was at home and my agent called me. And that was the first time he called me prior to the draft starting. So I was like, uh-oh, something about to go down. I was supposed to get drafted by the Knicks. It was between me and Marty Collins. Is that him? He went to St. John's.
Yeah.
We were similar players. So they was trying to go between me and him. So, and he played in the Garden. He was from New York. So they ended up going with him. But I could have been, I think it was the 25th or 24th pick. But they ended up not drafting me. So I ended up going out the first round. And then Philadelphia was on that phone with my agent. It was like, hey, Timberwolves are going to draft you, but you're basically coming to Philly. We traded for you already. And as they're telling me that, I'm looking at the screen and I'm seeing myself being announced, being drafted by the Timberwolves. So it was. I was always curious how the process worked if you're not at the draft. And so I got called, and then I saw it on TV. But that was the first time I got traded without even physically being on the team. So like you said, it's a business. But going to Philly was bittersweet because, again, this is me looking back now over 10 years ago. Philadelphia, that was the year Iverson got traded this season. That was the year they signed Chris Webber and then they bought him out. That was the same year Rodney Carney was a first-round draft pick. Me and him were similar guys. That's also the same year there was Andre Iguodala, Kyle Korver, Willie Green right there on the team before me. And that's also next to me sitting on the end of the bench with me was Lou Williams. Lou wasn't getting no burn yet. Me and him was sitting on the end of the bench like, man, we should be out there. We suck and we ain't even playing still. So again, from high school to college, I was playing. I earned my way. I knew my work ethic would rub off on the coaches, but it didn't work that way. my first year in the NBA because we sucked. We didn't have veterans who actually looked over the young guys, and we didn't win. So for me as a team player, if I'm not on a team that's winning, I don't stand out now. When you're winning, the team players, the intangibles, they mean stuff. But when you're losing, nobody care about that. So my first year in the NBA, I wouldn't say it was a waste because I made the best of it. I learned a lot. But on the basketball side, it didn't make me a better player. And then I got traded to Denver after they traded AI to Denver. So I'm back with AI. Now I'm with Melo, Kenyon Martin, Carmelo Anthony, J.R. Smith. So again, I was on a team with a lot of talent, but that wasn't helping me develop. And then funny story, like you mentioned, by January, I had to restructure my deal because my second year in the NBA, my second year is going to be guaranteed once the first day of training camp started. I got traded 2 days before training camp started.
Wow.
So now Denver could have completely cut me and ended my contract, or my agent was like, "We've got to sign a partial." I was like, "Well, I ain't got no option, do I?" So we signed a partial to January, and then on my birthday, right before we played the Sixers at home, I went into the office, and the GM, Workenstein, he told me they were going to cut me after the game. And so it was my birthday, and we're playing my former team from the season before, and I had to act like I didn't even know what was about to happen. Everybody's like, "Wow, we're happy for you. Good luck." You know, we talking before the game, and it was just a cold feeling, man. It was a cold feeling. And then from there, I went to play on 4 more teams in one season, all because I had a great game with the Memphis Grizzlies on the last day of my 10-day contract at home. I got a lot of good stories, man. So
man, mentally, no, I was just about to say mentally that process and that journey is like taxing on you. I know it had to be like, I feel you in so many ways because there's a lot of similarities that you spoke upon. But yeah, bro, shout out to your mental and being able to keep that intact because nobody really talks about those processes and those journeys that you experience early on in your career. You know what I'm saying? Those first, second, and you know what I'm saying, 3-year players. Like no one really talks about that damage to your career. Like you say in high school, like you known for, you know what I'm saying, being that guy that brings that energy, that brings that, you know what I'm saying, that camaraderie amongst the fellas. Like that's your field. College, same thing. You like that glue guy in that position, like that's really holding everything together. It's really that spark for the team. Then getting into the NBA, it's just like an abrupt change to everything. And now it's like you ain't even getting the opportunity to kind of display what your strong attributes is. So mentally, you like, is it me? Like, do I gotta step it up more? Do I gotta do it? And just that whole process, bro, you kind of broke it down real smooth. So
I broke it down, but that don't mean I was mentally right in that time.
Correct.
Again, I was partying a lot, I was drinking, I was hanging out with AI and them. Every city it was somebody, Mello or Chuck, somebody had a party in the city. So again, if I'm not playing, I'm like, well, shit, these niggas ain't gonna play me. I need to do something with my time. Like I was still coming early and working out. But again, I'm a young guy. I got some money. So again, all that I was like, well, if I'm not playing, I gotta balance, I gotta make myself feel good somehow. Am I gonna buy clothes? Am I gonna buy jewelry? Am I gonna drink? Am I gonna spend stuff on women? Because then that helps you feel good in that moment.
That's depression, bro. Like
term.
No, that was depression, and we didn't even know. Like during those moments and those times, like we just now finding out that some of those things that we were going through, that was depression that we was in. You know what I'm saying? Like those dark phases, and then we coping through the partying, through the drinking, because we're suppressing those feelings and those thoughts for so long. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So wait, Craig, how was your? I want to compare because again, I remember, but it's been a while. How was your rookie year?
I had a great rookie year.
Oh man, everybody trying to hear all that, man.
Fantastic. And
what's even harder because he was drafted by Minnesota at first too. He could have been with you.
Yeah, I was with KG, so like I felt like my welcome to the league moment was instant. You know what I'm saying? KG walking in the door with his energy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love that.
Yo, y'all motherfuckers ready? Like, you know what I'm saying? I never seen somebody that tall where they had to duck their head like that. You know what I'm saying? Like when he was walking in, and then like when you see him, like, oh, yo, this ain't a commercial. Like,
Mm.
yo, this is real. So
If I would have stayed in Minnesota, I played with Tyson already, so I would have. Oh, I got another athletic 7-footer that like to play hard with energy and play D. Let's
oh my,
go.
it was he made it so easy. And then he showed me how to be a true professional. Like, hey man, you need to be doing this after practice. And then like every morning I would be with the coach. So like I would be getting better, you know what I'm saying? And like everybody be noticing a little bit because I'll be out there killing. So like I knew like, and what was tough because I felt like Randy had to battle a lot against a lot of talented guards. Like they just signed Mike James. They had just signed Marco Yoric, who was and with the Clippers. So Randy had more of an uphill battle with me. They kind of let me come in and be like, we kind of want to put you next to Ticket already. You know what I'm saying? So that was the thing during like training camp. And then so like first preseason game the way Casey come over is like, yeah, man, you've been playing real well for us, but we got to send you down in the D League. I'm like, oh, no. And he's like, nah, I'm just playing with you. You're doing a fabulous job and you playing like real well. So then I was like, oh, you gave me that, but then you will boost my confidence even more. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I got an NBA award out of it. You know what I'm saying? Being on the all rookie team, like being a part of that future, because it was just like, from there, it only went up. Like I got to play against Sacramento. Like, oh man, I'm playing against Ron Artest. I'm scoring on Ron. Like, oh, like this is a dream. Like Ron's one of the best defenders ever. I feel like he gonna, you know what I'm saying? But I trust in my ability. And then the second NBA game on a back-to-back, having 20 points in 16 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Then taking the league by storm, coming back home against the Lake Show. And then like that's what I always felt was appreciated because I knew like everybody appreciated my game because they knew when I came in the game, like I was just gonna work hard, I was gonna kill. And then for doing that, like I got rewarded. So I like it was love, like feeling like, yo, I'm one of the futures of this, you know what I'm saying?
So case in point, I was one pick behind Craig. Could have went to the same team. Maybe minutes, maybe still wouldn't worked out. Maybe if we could have easily switched spots, right, Craig? We could have easily. I would have been one before you, got traded to Philly. So looking back, those little things can mean so much, right? You just don't know. We just don't know. We don't know. Do we have vets helping us? Or we have vets who are toxic and not helping us? Are we in a winning franchise? Are we a losing franchise? And if you're a young player who, like you said, aren't a first rounder that got guaranteed years, you're gonna get affected, man.
Those little things matter. I had a similar situation to you, to where it was like my rookie year, like we won 18 games. I was in LA, you know what I'm saying, when Barron first came over and Zach Randolph was there, Marcus Camby, Katino Mobley, Jason Hart. Like I had real guys, you know what I'm saying, there. But we was on a losing team and I'm still not playing. And it's like, yo, I'm in practice. You know what I'm saying? I'm first one there. So it was just hard making those, you know what I'm saying, those adjustments. And mentally, it was, man, I'm in the NBA, but it was still like one of the darkest spaces for me. You know what I'm saying? Because I couldn't navigate out that space. Like, you know, I'm trying to play. We losing like 2 weeks straight. We losing every game. And it's like, I know I can come in and score 20 points. You know what I'm saying? So that was tough.
So I'm gonna go back to when I got cut by the Nuggets in January. So 2 days later, after I got cut, the Grizzlies signed me to a 10-day contract, and that's back when they had Mike Miller, Paul Gasol was still there. They had Mike Conley was a rookie. Kyle was a rookie. He was the same year as me, second year, but he was on the bench. Damon Stoudemire was there. Stromar Swift. Mike Averoni was the coach. And they had a horrible record. It wasn't the worst. The Sonics was still worse. That's when KD was a rookie. But we had still a bad record. Casey Jacobson was on the team, Rudy Gay. So I got to that team, and the life of a 10-day contract is not for the easy minded, because you got to get there, act like you're a part of the team already, right? You got to act like you're a team guy. You got to act like you like people, even if you don't. You got to learn plays. You got to see if you're even going to play. You got to like be perfect. And even when you're perfect, you might not stay. But to be perfect is what? Perfection doesn't exist. So again, you're trying to be this perfect player to these people who probably don't care that you're there anyway. So on the last day of my 10-day, we had a home game against the Sonics, who was the worst team in NBA at that time. Rudy Gay was sick, and Casey Jacobson was supposed to start for him. And I didn't make any like noteworthy big games. So I was all right, this is my last game. I probably won't get another 10-day. As I'm out there, we're warming up. I didn't think I was going to play. Within like 10 minutes before the game started, one of the assistant coaches put me to the side, and he go, "Hey, you're going to start tonight." I go, "What? What you mean I'm going to start tonight?" He's like, "We forgot to take Casey Jacobson off the injury reserve. Because if you don't take him off, then he's ineligible." So now Rudy Gay was sick. They didn't take Casey Jacobson off the IR. So I'm thrown as a starter at the 3. We end up beating the Sonics by like 20. I had 24 points, 13 rebounds, and 7 assists. Mike Miller had a great game. Paul Gasol had a great game. And, you know, my energy, like don't put a man in a situation where this is it now. Again, I love pressure moments. I've been working on that since I was a freshman in high school. So when I was like, oh, wait, the Sonics are horrible. The Grizzlies are actually good. Paul Gasol likes to cut. He's European. He likes to, you know, he likes to play the right way. Mike Miller likes to play the right way. So that was a good balance for me as a player because all my energy is going to reward me. I'm going to get 2 points here, 4 points here, 3 points here, and that's going to add up. So at the end of the game, I'm walking off the court, and I see the reporter from the local, the local Grizz people come about to walk to me. I never had a post-game interview either. So this is one of those moments where you live for, like when you had that game and now they about to pull you to interview you. So they pulled me over and they say, "Hey, Bobby, man, what happened, man? You started?" And, you know, I didn't want to be real because, again, you got to play the role. But I was like, yeah, you know, the team threw me in there. I'm just happy that my energy was able to be on the court and I got good teammates who passed and looked for me. And I was just so excited. But I didn't know if I was going to get another 10-day now. And that's what I'm thinking, like, all right, y'all give me another 10-day or – you know, this is what I'm thinking in my head. So after the interview, I'm going to the locker room, and there's going to be more reporters waiting for me. Chris Wallace, who was the GM at the time, I think he's still the GM. He pulls me to the side really quickly. He's like, "We're going to give you another 10-day." And he pushed me away. I'm like, cool. So I'm going to the reporters now. I'm happy, like, yeah, let's talk about this game. And Damon Stoudemire, who was sitting right next to me in the locker room, he just kept looking at his head and just shaking. He could carpe diem. Well, he said like 30 times, he was just carpe diem. And that means seize the day.
Seize the day.
So they ended up giving me another 10-day. I had pretty good numbers again, nothing crazy, but I was actually playing now. And after my second 10-day, the team has to either keep you for the rest of the season or let you go. They let me go, right? So after that, I ended up playing on 3 more teams because of that game I had. And my agent was able to use that game to let teams know, like, this is what he can do if you put him in a system where the energy just flows on the court. So I ended up getting signed to the Houston Rockets. I ended up getting signed to Miami Heat. And I ended up getting signed to the San Antonio Spurs. And again, I was happy I got those situations, but it always ended up where I didn't stay. So again, for every good story, I got 3 bad stories. So again, and that stuff adds up. That becomes trauma. Because again, that lifestyle is not normal. Playing in NBA, I don't care if you're rich or poor or staying on one team or playing on 12 teams. That is not a normal lifestyle for no one. So again, my stories of my journey, and I look at this as trauma, but people are like, how's that trauma? You played in the NBA. I'm like, well, you're not seeing it from my lens. You're not seeing it from the awareness and the long-term implications and that instant gratification, but then getting it taken away. I compare it to like you get to date this beautiful, smart Hollywood actress, but then she dumps you after a week. But then you get to hook up with another rich Hollywood actress, and then she dumps you after a week. And then again, so you start thinking like, damn, is it me or is it them? Because they keep giving me a chance, but they're not staying with me. So again, at that age, 23, it was very hard to understand because I know I'm a winner. I know I work hard. I know I'm a good guy. And things just wasn't working out for me still. But I had to keep pushing and keep trying. And again, that's how I ended up setting the NBA record. But that's not something I would advise anybody to try to do. And I don't even think you can even do that now with the new rules, with the G League and the two-way player stuff. So that might be some moment in time that's always going to be like that. I'm actually working on I started a memoir about 6-7 years ago, but I finally found a good editor to kind of clean it up and keep my voice. So I'm going to be releasing that probably like in about a year or so. But yeah, and I never really shared those stories because, again, I'm not the one to, that was my story. I like to keep my stories for me because I'm not sure how I'm going to use that story in my life yet, but it's been so long ago, over 10, 12 years, I'm ready to share those stories and those adventures.
And kind of digging deeper into that, like, do you find yourself constantly going over like what if scenarios in your head, and how do you kind of combat yourself from kind of eating yourself alive over something like
Yeah,
that?
most of my 20s. So after I played, after that second year, Denver ended up signing me back because I don't know why, they realized that, okay, Bob, we might have made a mistake. Let's sign you back. So I played with them for summer league. And I was like, man, I'm about to get signed. I'm about to get back with the Nuggets. It all worked out for a reason. Thank you, thank you. That summer league, I was also on the team with Dante Jones. Dante Jones beat me out my spot. Dante Jones got signed that next year. That next year, that's when the Nuggets went to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Lakers. And that's when Dante Jones took off and he had a great NBA career. So again, I had that moment, but I didn't perform in that one time. And so that I didn't get signed. And I went to the training camp with the Kings and they didn't keep me. And I played 1 year in the D League. After that, I was in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. That was probably the worst season I ever had as a basketball player. Not because of the weather, just because of the team. And the G League can be amazing for some guys, but it can be horrible for others. Yeah. So for that, after that year, I said, I'm done. I'm going overseas. I made it to the NBA. I didn't even try to play summer league no more. I was done. Like, I didn't want to be that guy. I felt like I was too old for summer league still, which I wasn't. I didn't want to be that guy still playing summer league at 28, at 30, because I felt like that's disrespectful to my pride, you know. So I was like, I'm going overseas, and I stayed in Italy for 12 years. And again, being over there, I got the deprogram from all the stuff in America, all that trauma I was dealing with from college, from NBA, from my childhood, and I got to relearn and become a better person and work on myself and meet amazing people in Italy. So again, if I could have stayed in the NBA, I might have more money, I might have more kids, I might be married, I might be divorced, who knows what could have happened. More so, trauma, I don't need all that trauma. I was happy with the way my basketball journey took me.
So being that you had all that trauma and you end up going to see overseas, you end up making a documentary.
Yes. So at UW, I got my bachelor's in writing. So I love writing ever since I was a little kid. Like back in the day, Craig, when we were younger, we had the cassette tapes where you can record songs straight off the radio. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I wanted to learn songs, I would record them and then I would play them and then I would write the lyrics down. I don't know if other people did that, but I enjoyed writing. Yeah, and then I would read it, and that's how I learned songs.
Can I tell? Well, I don't know. I think Jordan and Mike know, but a lot of people don't know this. I used to make burn CDs and mixtapes for Sloss and Swap Meet.
Yeah, so I did the same thing. I was that kid. I had a computer in the 90s. I used to burn off a Napster. I used to sell mixed CDs for 10. I would sell the regular albums for 5 at high school. And I was a very tech-savvy kid. So, sports, I had a good education. And I was slanging CDs, too, making $400 or $500 a week. Like, that was good money. So I was always balanced in having a good lifestyle, family. But at the same time, we all still go through trauma. I don't care who you are. But as humans, we try to say, oh, my trauma is bigger than your trauma. Or no, it's all trauma. I don't like to why are we comparing trauma? That's the problem. We're comparing trauma to say mine's is worse than yours. So listen. Nah, man, our trauma is our trauma. Like, listen to somebody's trauma, learn from it, let them listen to yours, share it, and then hopefully you're starting to heal. That's what it's about. But a lot of people, again, and that's not me, but going out the country, I was just happy I got to leave America because I felt like I was not really an American. Because again, what is to be an American? Like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't want to be an American. I don't want to be from Compton. I want to be Bobby from planet Earth. Because from there's no labels, there's no stereotypes, nobody's judging you. Now you just get to know me and my story. So, it's easier said than done. But yeah, so I did a documentary in Rome. I think I was 30 years old because I learned a lot of people don't like reading books, even though I like to write. So I had to pivot into cameras and editing. And that's how my video production company started. But yeah, I did a documentary in Rome. I interviewed 9 Americans, men and women, and we shared our stories, our trials and tribulations on why we left to go out the country, the good stuff, the bad stuff, which countries are better for money, competition, partying. I talked about everything because my first 2 years, I learned, like, always on the road, us Americans, we always share stories at breakfast, at dinner, at lunch about our seasons before, certain coaches, certain players. And that's how I learned more about the European culture before social media really came about. So I was like, let me make a documentary where we're just sharing all this information. And that was my first time writing, directing. I budgeted it. I lost a lot of money, but I learned never again to put your own money into a project. That's where you find investors. But again, I needed to go through all those steps in another country because that was my only way I was going to gain experience about something. And that was 8-9 years ago. So now I have my video production company. I do a lot of other film. I do YouTube stuff. I'm scaling my second company. And again, I would have never had all that time if I would have stayed in America because I would have been distracted for all the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
If people wanted to watch this documentary, can they?
Absolutely. So my documentary is called Basketball Jones, The Overseas Journey. You can get it on Vimeo. If you just type in Basketball Jones, it'll come up. I have some trailers on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Bobby Ray Jones Jr., where you can see the trailer, and then there's a link that sends you there. I'll send you guys the link and the password so y'all can check that out. Actually, I should have sent it to y'all before for some homework so y'all can even ask me some more questions, but it's all good. And but yeah, now I do short films. Again, I write. My new mission now is to bring wellness into my first community, and that's Compton. About a year ago, I finally stopped playing. I'm 38 years old. I never lived in America. I never lived in Los Angeles as an adult for a full year. So last year was my first year as an adult living in LA. And, you know, Craig, you can talk about this, Mike, you too. That transitioning from your first year or your first 2 years after playing is hard. It's hard, but that's any transition and anybody can do it again.
Yeah.
So I was blessed. I started doing yoga about a year ago at Venice Beach at this studio called Chef of Yoga. I knew the owner from Seattle. She had 2 studios there because I always stretched a lot. The last 4 or 5 years I played, after I got done with practice, I stretched for 30, 45 minutes, just holding positions and just being there. So I always knew I would probably get into yoga, but it wouldn't be until after I was done playing. And so I got into it. I loved it. I started taking the yoga teachers training. I did the 200 hours. I did another extra 50 hours. And now I'm combining the yoga with basketball. I'm combining the wellness with Compton. And that's also part of my second company, Growing Up Compton. So I'm just trying to normalize bringing yoga, wellness practices, mindful practices into the Black and brown community, but also with the youth in Compton and also all around the world.
Word, man. That's what's up. Definitely a blessing.
Wait, Craig. All right, let's talk about the university game. Let's go back to when we won the gold medal at 22. And that was the first time I ever left America, too. Looking back, was that your first time you ever left America?
Yeah, to go overseas. That was the first time.
That was the trip. August going into my senior year.
Yes.
Or your senior year too. So that was summer 2001.
Yeah, we stopped in Germany, and then we went into Izmir, and I remember because we were coming from Colorado Springs, and which a lot of people don't. We can even go back to there. I think we were one of the first people to hop the gate at a USA facility.
Wow, wow. Well, when we was in Colorado Springs,
no, you didn't even go. No, you went.
I was in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, when we went out.
I don't think I did that. No, I don't see.
It was scary. So the last night before we go on our trip, we like, forget it. We're gonna get out of here. So we figuring out if we can go through the checkpoint. They like, nah, the gate closed. You can't go at 8. So we like, you know what? We just gonna hop the gate right here. We hopped the gate, ran to the gas station, and got picked up by some chicks who worked at were like gymnasts there, and then they took us out.
Yeah, y'all didn't tell me on that one. That was a mission. I don't think y'all shared that with me.
No,
that was Craig.
First of all, yeah, that was a wild story. That was a wild story because we got in the car, and you know, we thinking we dealing with another USA athlete. She's next level. She's like, yeah, you got to be careful out here in the Springs. We like, what? In Colorado Springs? Yeah, she pulled the gun from underneath the seat, showed the gun. I'm like, all right, it's already going.
You thought she was trying to get approved. Like, I rock with y'all.
It's already going down. Put it back under the seat. We go to the party. Something happened where we seen, and this is the first time I've seen a lot of Asian Bloods.
What?
Yeah, and it was a group of them.
Asian Bloods?
Asian Bloods.
You sure they just wasn't wearing red because that's what you sure they was representing? They was throwing bees up?
Asian Bloods, and it was like 40 of them.
Oh, wow.
There's Asian Bloods out there in Colorado.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy I didn't go out with y'all that night. Or
Well, I mean,
I'll about that story.
nothing happened.
Sure.
Nothing ended up happening, but like I don't know, we were good though.
Yeah,
you already
sounds
know
like the
we
plot
was
of
good.
like a spoof movie.
I think the reason why I didn't go out with y'all because we was in Colorado, they still had to cut a certain amount of guys. They had to cut like 2 or 3 guys. So I wasn't guaranteed I was going to be on the team yet. So I probably was still nervous or waiting to hear what happened. Craig, they was probably already confident they was going to be on the team. So that's probably why they went out.
Well, only reason I knew I was going, I said Coach Skinner, because Coach Skinner was begging me. It's real Danny Glover too, like a real detective. Like, please, I need you to go do this. I'm like, man, only way I'm going to do this if I'm starting. Like, I'm not wasting my time up there. You know what I'm saying? So when I talked to Jay Wright, like, and then I seen the roster, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, it's pretty much set up for me to like kind of be the guy out here too on the low.
And I was the bench. I was on the end, and that was the funniest part, Craig. You can laugh now, motherfucker. But Craig was starting. He was eating. We were smacking teams by like 20 points out there, right? And Jay Wright, bless his heart, he didn't win no national championships yet. He wasn't that guy yet. He was just the coach at Villanova still. I was heated when we got there because we're smacking teams, and this dude is playing everybody like it's a real college game. And again, our team was filled with a lot of good players from all different teams. So I'm like, all right, if we're smacking them, why ain't everybody still playing? Jay Wright was still playing guys like it was a regular college game, and that was making me so mad. So again, before the NBA, I had I won't even call this trauma, I just call this frustration, because I'm calling Romar, like, Romar, what's going on, man? We smacking these dudes, and this dude still ain't playing. He's like, man, just enjoy the moment. You're in another country. Make the best of it. It's going to be a learning experience. I'm like, yeah, I guess, bro, but this ain't it. Because we was in Izmir for a whole month. We had like a university village where all the other countries was there.
It was the most popular team there.
Yeah, we had the openings. It was like a miniature Olympics. It was dope. We all exchanged pins with each other. Yeah, everybody wanted the American sweatsuits.
I got African shirts and all that.
Yeah, we was trading stuff like on the last days. Like it was the first time I ever left America. And again, after the basketball stuff, I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed the experience. We even went out the university. We sometimes went to the water, me and Craig, and Chris Hernandez was walking the beach. I had my camcorder. You remember this story. I had my camcorder. I was filming stuff, and it was this beautiful Turkish woman, right? And she was with some friends or something walking, and they're looking at us, right? They all looking at, we looking at them. And Craig like, Bob, she looking at you, man. She might like you. And I'm like, man, I don't know. But we walked past on my turn. She's still looking. And Craig, he's like, go, Bob, go, man, go talk to her. And Chris Hernandez, I was like, all right, I gave them my camcorder, and these guys are filming me. Now, when I go talk to the girl, I'm not gonna say I was the best smooth talker, back then, but I was innocent, and it was still, I guess, sexy to women, the innocent look. So this woman, she was probably like a couple years older than me. She ended up buying this rented jet Sea-Doo, and I got on the Sea-Doo, she got on the back, and we went out into the sea. And Craig and them are still filming all this. And their commentary on the thing, him and Chris talking, their commentary was hilarious.
See what your boy do? You see what I'm saying? It was hilarious.
So then I get a free ride. He's like, I'm just doing, I was like, this ain't so bad out here in Turkey, man. This ain't so bad.
Do you have this footage? Like, can we get this
and it's transferred digitally, yes.
Hey, what I was about to ask you too, do you got that UW videos where you were talking about you?
So the thing about filming all this stuff is that I can use it now. Again, a lot of dudes our age wasn't filming that stuff and keeping it. Yep. Like, I lived in the same house for 40 years, my parents' house. So all the stuff I filmed has just been in my room. Or
you got a vault. You got an archive for real.
So I got footage that I still ain't released that I'm going to use because I'm trying to work on a Dominguez Don's documentaries. And then I tried to work on the UW thing about our program during that time, trying to pitch it up to the Northwest sports broadcasting people. So I got footage, man. It's just I'm waiting to share it when I'm ready. Like, a lot of people like to share their stuff as soon as they film it. I've been filming my life for the last 6 years, and I barely showed anything. Like, I like to see it for myself. I want to absorb it and make sense of it myself before I share it with people. So that's just how I am as a storyteller. So
did you record some of the games too? So I was saying, like, hey, Mike T, I was Charles Barkley in Israel.
No, you was
Barkley. Yo, I look cold. We look cold too. We're like some thugs. I got a bruise on my forehead with a nice lineup.
Hey, was Keon on that Dominguez team with you with Tyson and
Yep,
them?
yep. Keon, well, yeah, I think Keon was on there. Keon was a
There
year
it
younger than
is.
Bobby.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yeah, look at number 13 out here before Harden.
Look at us. One
Look, we
goal,
got Jerry
baby. Look at those scores.
McNamara.
We're smacking those teams,
We
man.
was
Look at them scores.
Oh my
smacking
God.
teams. See how we smacked
Y'all
Iran?
didn't do
I was
China
telling
like
the
that.
story. We smacked Iran. I came down the lane.
Oh
And
my-
I was barely playing 2 minutes. I remember
You playing
one
the
time
China
we was doing
game?
warm
Y'all
ups.
playing the China game? Because it was you. I know what it was. Because Eric Hicks also. Shout out to E Hicks from
Eric.
Cincinnati. He was upset about that too, just the way. Because it was like, yeah, I mean, we was smacking fools and then we'd be done. But I don't know. But
So
sometimes, huh?
there was one game, I was like, me and Eric was like, we're just gonna we're gonna do all our fucking dunks and warm ups. Since we knew we wasn't playing, we're like, we about to put a show on for these crowd, right? And so we out there doing dunks, just everybody's going, woo, wow. Jay Wright comes up, he's like, why are y'all doing all that? Can you stop doing all that? You're exciting the crowd out here. They already don't like us. And I'm like, dude, leave me alone. I'm not even playing, bro. Let me just dunk now. Like, it was something. Now, I fast forward because when I got drafted to Philly, because this is, again, one of those full circle moments, because I had a good senior year. I got drafted. I'm with Philly, and I see Jay Wright at one of the Sixers events, right? And so I'm thinking like, yeah, motherfucker, yeah, now what? Now I'm in the league. So he comes up to me, hey, Bobby, man, congrats with the Sixers, man. You know, I want to apologize about what happened, but, you know, this is the life of a coach. And again, I was not going to be a person where I was like, I told you so, because it wasn't one of those. It was just like, dude, just, you know, I'm a good player now. Just let me eat just like everybody else. So that was very refreshing that he did apologize, but it was once I was in NBA. Maybe he would have never did it if he didn't see me then and there either. But
devil's advocate, huh? Go Harvey Dent.
Never know.
All right. So just to finish it out, we got a couple of segments left. One segment is called Rhino's Vision, where it is something where I want you to describe in detail your favorite play. And since you play NBA and overseas, I want your favorite play in the NBA and your favorite play in overseas and what teams they were for. But this is the thing. What was the difference in detail of move you had to do? Because the rules are different in the NBA versus overseas. So in detail, what was the fundamentally sound move that you had to do and describe in detail just because of the difference of the leagues?
NBA, I dunked on Sasha Vujacic when I played with Denver. We played in LA at the Staples Center. My parents was there. I had like maybe 10, 15 family members there. And the Lakers actually was beating us by a lot. So it was kind of garbage time, but it was still on TNT and everything. But I caught Sasha. I think it was like a weak side pass. And again, the defense rotation wasn't there. So he just tried to take a late charge. And I just went over him and just dunked it. And they called an N1. And that's when they called an N1, that's when you have your moment. It's kind of like scoring a touchdown. When you have a moment to kind of do whatever you need to do real quick. So I had one of those, and my parents was there, so I know they were geeked. So that was a great moment for me, even though we didn't win. But it was in the Staples Center. It was against the Lakers. So a lot of nostalgia, just your childhood memories with NBA teams and all that. So that was dope.
Appreciate that. You know, part of the Rhino's vision. It's a lot of dunk-ons, dude.
Oh, I still can't dunk, man. You know, I'm nimble.
What dunk can you do now? What dunk can you
He been on that yoga. He could probably still pull off some.
To be honest with you, I wasn't a very creative dunker. I did a lot of the same dunks. My teammates always made fun of me because I did the same dunks over and over.
Yeah, you got the Jordan versus Bird
package, the dunk package.
I used to like to do the two hand, just 1 foot, just glide in and just. Or sometimes I do, but I did between the legs a couple times. It's just, again, at that time, I wasn't using my creativity in my dunks. I was just happy with the ones I was doing.
Can you do the leg now? What can you 360 now? What cock back reverse?
360. I haven't. I mean, I know I can still dunk. I haven't tried, but now that I'm 38, I should start doing more, dunk videos just to show people I still got it. But if I do that, people might think I'm still trying to play basketball too, which last year I was, but now I'm not. I haven't officially retired, or I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to make no soppy post and nothing like that. But yeah, no, I can still play, man. I still miss the game. I miss all that. Like I know I can still play for sure.
Well, every birthday I still try to do a dunk.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Like off
So
vert,
last year was off the
a little bit before
backboard.
you
Last
do
year
it?
was off the backboard.
Okay. Was that when you was with the high school kids at Fairfax?
Yeah. So this year I'm thinking like, all right, I gotta do some. Maybe I do a reverse. Me off the backboard, reverse it this time. Next year maybe, for the 40 ball.
For the 40 ball, you gotta do something special.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I got to get my windmill back or something like that. That's something to work on for the year. So it's just I build up for these now because it's like I do want to be like Marcus Johnson. You see Marcus Johnson every year.
Oh yeah,
Marcus Johnson be 65 dunking. It's just like I love that. I want to do that at 80. I want to defy the odds.
I turned 39 in January, so you got me thinking now. I'm gonna do a dunk for my 39th. Now, I mean, like between the legs, something where it's a little difficulty. Yeah, I think I can still get between the legs.
Shout out Marcus Johnson for this too, man. Let's clip OG for this, man.
I think I'm on that
Johnson,
too.
his son, that's my guy. I'm nervous for a lot of my male friends who are the same age as me, and they think they can just jump and start playing basketball.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mess up the AC, not the ACL.
Oh yeah,
the
Achilles. Yeah, they tripping. That mental.
No, Achilles. I'm sorry, they're Achilles. I know 4 guys who have messed up their Achilles in the last 3 years. That's my age because they tried to play before warming up, play the sport they wasn't supposed to be doing because they think their mind is still back when they were young. When we can just have our shorts underneath our jeans and take our clothes off and hoop.
Yeah.
All right, we'll jump into Give a Dog a Bone segment. It's just a bunch of rapid fire questions for our audience to get to know you a little bit better. We'll start it off with the Underdogs podcast. We got to know what your favorite dog breed is.
Dang. How about my favorite cat breed? I'm a cat person.
All right, we'll roll with that.
And I don't even know the type of cat, really. I just like certain colors. I like orange cats, like little ginger, like ginger.
Garfield,
cats. Huh? Yeah. Shout out to Garfield.
Oh, you said Garfield.
All right, who is your favorite musical artist?
Andre 3000, Outkast, baby.
Hey.
Okay. Favorite shoe?
Ooh, right now or of all time?
Both.
All time.
All time, I'm gonna go with the patent leather Jordans.
11.
Color.
And right now, color. I'll go black, all black. Why not?
Okay.
Space Jam.
You can't go no wrong with any color.
Space Jam or the Breads.
Space Jam.
All right.
And then right now, I wear sandals, bro. I don't like wearing shoes so much anymore.
Man.
Yeah, it makes sense. You want the Space Jam. You want to be from planet Earth. Captain America. I mean, no, not Captain. You Captain Planet.
Captain Planet.
I like that.
We are look.
I can't. The signs are there. The patterns are there, my guy.
What was your favorite city to play in?
Oh, man, that's tough because I love every city that I played in because it's like
rapid
a puzzle.
fire. Rapid fire.
Man.
First to man. First to
Rome.
Okay.
Rome.
Best dunker of all time?
Vince.
Favorite hobby aside from basketball?
Writing and giving back to the community.
Hardest player to guard?
Adam Morrison.
Ooh.
Okay.
He was a bucket.
Best defender versus you?
Ooh. Oh, man.
Dante Jones.
I'm going to give him some. I would say David Hawkins.
Hey, okay.
Hey.
Did you play with him in Virtus? We were wondering about that.
Yeah, I saw you had him on. My first year in Italy when I played against him, he locked me up hard, bro. Like, and I played defense. I was like, chill out, man. We Americans. I was like, chill out, man. I know you play for the Siena team. All right. They know who you are. But yeah, he was a good defender in Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's up.
What is your least favorite city or stadium to play in?
Oh, Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
What's your favorite movie?
The Matrix series.
Okay. Favorite current player?
Ooh, current player. I'm gonna still say LeBron. Why not?
All right. Favorite all-time
Longevity,
player,
baby.
if it's any different.
From as a child, my favorite player was Eddie Jones, just because
Eee.
back then we wasn't able to get jerseys with our last names on them yet. So
Mhm.
once he got dropped to the Lakers, I was like, I get to get a Laker jersey with my name on the back. They ain't never had a Jones on their team before.
Yeah.
But not to be biased, if I didn't pick him, I would probably say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Nice. I like that one.
Kareem is the GOAT. He will always be the GOAT.
Who is the most underrated player or an underdog that you have played with?
I'm gonna go with myself. Damn it.
Like it.
Bars.
Shoot. I'm honest.
If you could, is there anything you'd change about your career?
Nope.
I love that
Not
answer.
one thing. Everything happens for a reason. I truly believe that. I feel like every decision we're making, we already made it. Like we're just living out something that we already did. It's just we don't know that we're in this dimension of doing it. So that manifestation that, every morning I say these things to myself. I meditate. I do sauna every morning. I'm always in my brain. I'm meditating because that's your brain don't know what something you experience physically or if it's a thought. Your brain don't know. So again, I'm truly all the decisions that I can look back, like we're in our 30s to where we see the map of our life and the patterns and the things we did well and we didn't do well. So we have the map to change the rest of our lives. So I think everything happened. I did it organically. I did it with energy. I did it through passion. I did it through being open-minded. And it all led me to where I'm at right now.
Awesome. What is something you wish fans knew or understood better?
I don't know if they will ever understand better, just the X's and O's. But to do that, you have to be a player and be there at practice and actually see what we go through every day. So I would just say just the X's and O's, because every fan think they know basketball, but they know one level of the basketball. They don't know it to be it's like brain surgery, right? You can read all the books on brain surgery, but if you ain't never did brain surgery, how are you going to teach somebody else about brain surgery? I want to learn from somebody who actually was a brain surgeon, who learned it, and who actually performed brain surgery.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Definitely.
I don't know if you're tapped in with them, but Jermaine Jones said the same thing. And throughout this entire episode, I've just been like, they have like such similar ideologies. It's crazy.
Yeah. He said the same thing?
Yeah. you and Jermaine Jones are on like the same level for like everything you've said so far today.
Wow.
It's crazy.
And you need to tap in with him too, because he Philly alumni, so that's something you should be doing too.
And he got this this organization that he's a part of called Mindfulness Sports, to where it's a lot of similarities and what you're doing off the court with the, you know what I'm saying, building and tapping into that mindfulness practice. So I can see I can see where you're saying, Jordan, like it's a lot of similarities. Yeah. Moving on though, what was your welcome to the league moment where you was like, okay, I've arrived? Like,
oh man. All right. This is a story. I got some go-to stories. So halfway through, or probably towards the end of my rookie year, once Sixers were not in the race for the playoffs no more, they started playing me, started playing Lou Will a little bit, because now you gotta let the young guys develop, see what you got. So the first game I started was at home. It was against the Cavs. So it was against LeBron. So my first time starting was against LeBron. And I'm geeked, like, yeah, it's time to make my money today, baby. Like that's like shutting dudes, like it's not like getting paid to have to shut somebody down. Like it's one thing to get paid, you got to get for 30 points. Like it's a whole different mindset. That to shut somebody down was fun to me. So I was like, my first start in the NBA is at home, and I'm going to stick LeBron James. First 2-3 minutes of the game, I'm fouling him. I'm just all up in his shit. And he had like a wristband or something on, and I kind of like fouled him and ripped it off on accident. And he go, damn, Bobby. And all I thought was, damn, LeBron know my name. I thought that was pretty cool. He said out of frustration. And then like the very next minute later, there was a play where he passed it to the top. He got like a back screen, and it was a lob play. So I got hit pretty good. LeBron is getting thrown the ball in the lob. I should have never jumped. As I jumped, LeBron jumped, and then he grabbed me with him, and then grabbed the ball and dunked it, and then they called and one. And so again, when you get that and one dunk, you get a couple seconds to make your little celebration and all that. And so I'm like, damn, I just got caught. I didn't fall down or nothing like that, but he caught me. after the game, I had like 50 missed calls. I had like 50 texts. It was on Sports Center. It wasn't top one, but it was top 10 plays. And that was my I was like, all these people calling me and texting me now. They didn't call me and text me when I do some good shit. They don't call me when I get dunked on. But that was my welcome to the league moment.
Oh, that's dope. You went viral on the other on the receiving end.
Oh, I looked up. I can't even find that clip anywhere. So
we're gonna try to find it, Jordan.
That's my job, the researcher.
What's your funniest NBA moment?
Watching Lou Will and Andre Iguodala get into a fight on a plane. Y'all want to know that story?
We gotta know that story.
Got one. Let's get it.
So on the plane, there was this card game guys used to play when they gamble called Bourré.
Bourré.
Yep. And I don't know if they still do it now. I know.
Of course.
I'm sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So AI, Chris Webber, a couple other guys, Stephen Hunter, they would play Bourré. So this particular plane ride, because again, Lou was a year older than me in the league, but he was still 2 years younger than me in life. So he was older, experienced, but he was still young. And they used to still make fun of him. So he was on an episode of Cribs where Bow Wow was giving a tour of his house. And him and Bow Wow was super close. So in this episode, Bow Wow had like 10 of his boys in the background just there. You know how it is. And Lou was one of them. And so Willie Green, there was this joke where they were saying, hey, Lou, I saw that episode of Cribs with Bow Wow. I saw Bow Wow say, hey, Lou, go get me a Sprite. Anyway, so this is my pool over here. And so that was the joke, right? So everybody started calling him Sprite. That was his nickname. And so when the older dude did it, Lou couldn't say nothing, right? But when Andre did it, and Andre's my age, Lou didn't like that. Because Lou was like, all right, they can do it, but you can't do it. But Andre, he's like to poke the bear. He's similar to Nate Robinson. He liked to aggravate you a little bit. And so we're on the plane, and Andre keeps calling them, hey, Sprite, Sprite. And then Lou go, hey, Andre, you call me Sprite one more time, we're gonna have to get some fisticuffs. So everybody's quiet. AI, all them, they stop playing too. Everybody's looking like, Andre, are you about to say it? And so Andre looks around. He goes, Sprite. So Lou gets up, jumps on them. They start tussling on the plane. We're in the air. Henry Bibby, who was my assistant back in Philly, the dude who didn't recruit me at SC, he comes back and yo, stop him. And nobody stopped him. And then they broke it up. And then, they made up after that. But I couldn't believe it. Like that was hilarious to me. That was hilarious.
Shout out to Bibbs too. That's a crazy story.
Funny stuff, boy.
All right. To end it off, as we do with every episode, what would you say the biggest lesson you learned is throughout your entire journey?
Just to stay open-minded. Don't judge people. Try to understand their lens. Get out your comfort zone. Always learn. Always give back. And everything else will figure itself out if you truly believe in those principles.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Craig, I got to say, though, what's on your shirt?
Hey.
This is my children's book. I am an author. I just came out with my book, Craig and His Magic Basketball. Wow.
I'm trying to hide in the background, bro.
Hey.
Nothing.
Bang.
Hey, when
Congrats,
I get my copy,
Craig.
man.
Hey, seriously, I always wanted to do a children's book, and I still probably will. But I congratulate you for doing that, man. That's amazing. I know Josh Childress, he did the same thing too. I like when I see my former Hoopers, my former LA guys, my black men do something for the youth to tell stories because representation matters, man. So congrats on that.
Right.
And we'll make sure to link that down in the bio if you want to go get Craig's book. Make sure to check it out.
I'm getting one, Craig.
I already got like 3.
I got a few too. So yeah.
Man.
Congratulations,
thanks, bro.
On that. Both of y'all shirts is dope. You see, I had to hold up my shirt like I had, but I'm built different. That's
we
tough.
all
That's
are built different, man. And again, that's my slogan, my wellness campaign slogan. I want to preach to the youth, to the city of Compton, to everybody. I'm built different. We all built different, man. It's just it starts up here.
To embrace it for sure. I appreciate you, bro, for coming on, man. You definitely a true definition of the underdog, and we appreciate your time on the pod, bro.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, man. Craig, thank you for inviting me. We got a lot of other projects we're going to be working with.
A lot.
I'm gonna be catching up with you, Jordan. You also, Mike.
I'm bringing you.
This be the last time. Let this be the beginning of some other beautiful friendships and projects. And good luck with y'all, wherever else y'all working on. All right.
That's gonna do it for episode 22 of the Underdogs podcast. Thank you guys so much for tapping in. Shout out Bobby Jones for coming on. See you guys next time. Peace.